Huge mobs of left-wingers took to the streets of Hamburg, Germany during the G20 conference over the weekend, starting violent riots that injured hundreds of people and destroyed the livelihood of the locals as part of the left's ceaseless attempt to bring peace and economic justice to the world. The leftists were protesting something in the hopes of establishing something else, or perhaps raising awareness of something, and somehow making the world a better place by wearing masks and hitting people with sticks before setting fire to their stores. The rioters described themselves as anti-fascists, the word fascist here meaning someone who oppresses people with violence, and the word anti meaning absolutely nothing. Left-wing anarchist hooligan von Dungberger was kind enough to take time off from beating a woman into the pavement to answer our questions about his motives. Von Dungberger said, quote, "Unbridled capitalism has elevated many nations to untold wealth and freedom, lifting people around the world out of poverty and leading to advances in technology, farming, and education never before seen in history. This must stop and be replaced by socialism, which makes everything mediocre and miserable. Then, at last, everyone will be as unhappy as I am because my mother never loved me and I'm overweight," unquote. Mr. von Dungberger then took a picture of himself protesting capitalism with his iPhone 7 and returned to beating up innocent people for the greater good. Another protester, Francois Naziface, said he was burning stores and driving hard-working locals into poverty in order to give voice to the complaints of marginalized sexual perverts. Mr. Naziface said, quote, "Here in the West, we must have serious discussions about men who pretend they're women, as if that were some kind of a thing instead of a mental illness that had been turned into a political issue because we have no real problems. If a child who has been designated as a boy plays with a doll, his body must be mutilated and injected with destructive hormones so that he grows up psychotic enough to believe that gender is mutable before killing himself. Only then will there be sexual justice in the world," unquote. Yet another rioter we interviewed was Fernando Gonzalez Riviera Diego Fernando, nicknamed El Useless Stupido, who rested from throwing rocks at the police long enough to tell us why he was rioting. El Stupido said, quote, "Basically, I am a criminal who enjoys hurting people and destroying things, and so I became a leftist because leftism offered me the best opportunities for travel and promotion," unquote. And a final rioter we spoke to was New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, who left his city during a vigil for a murdered police officer in order to join the Hamburg protests against something, and to establish a better something somewhere other than the city he's supposed to be running. De Blasio said, quote, "I am here in solidarity with these rioters, thugs, and criminals because I am an idiotic lowlife and a leftist. But I repeat myself," unquote. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
And here we are on our beautiful new set. And I promised you there would be naked dancing girls and chocolate fountains and elephants, and they're all here, but it's a family show, so we have to keep them behind the camera. But let me tell you, they are gorgeous. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see, and the rest of it looks pretty nice as well. And if our technology works, which is an open question, we've been having a little problem. The naked dancing girls kept slipping in the chocolate, and it was upsetting the elephants. But if we can get our tech working, we have Michael Grassy Knowles will be here later. From Washington, D.C., all the way from Washington, D.C. I call him this because we were in Dallas and we went to see the spot where John F. Kennedy was shot, obviously a history-making spot, and Knowles picked some grass off the hill and tweeted out a picture of himself as the Grassy Knowles, to which somebody on Twitter responded, "Too soon, Knowles, too soon." So while I'm talking, I should say Knowles is going to come on after the break, the Facebook and YouTube break, where we lose you and cast you into the exterior darkness. So if you want to see the entire show in one place, Come to thedailywire.com, subscribe. The prices just went up. I warned you and warned you. Did you do anything? No. But now it's cost $9.99 a month. Still pretty good. It's really a lousy $10 a month, basically. And it costs $99.99 for the year. And then, my friend, you get the Leftist Tears mug, the official Leftist Tears mug, out of which I'm drinking actual leftist tears. That's how it works. And you will get that for an annual subscription. Plus, you get to be in the mailbag, ask all your questions. While I'm plugging things, go over to City Journal and read my new short story, The End of the Working Day. You will be glad you did. You will read it and say you are happy that you read this. So this last week, I just feel like the left is in flames. I mean, we had two things going on. On the one hand, I know they kind of suppressed a lot of these images in the mainstream media, but Hamburg was on fire. I mean, it was hundreds of people were injured, flames, and these anarchists and socialists and all these people, nobody even knows what they're protesting. Nobody even knows what they want. Do they want to be less free or less rich or something? And meanwhile, I don't want to make too big a thing out of this, but I really have to bring this up about Donald Trump and the Marines hat. I mean, I'm sure most of you saw this, but just in case, here's CNN. And you can just hear, I'm not sure who this is. It sounds a little like Alison Camerota or whatever her name is. But you can just hear the pain at having to report something that obviously makes Donald Trump look good. Watch Trump as he picks up the hat of a Marine after it blows off the Marine's head.
The president has returned to the U.S. This from just moments ago. You've got to come and watch this. This was actually a light moment. We just wanted to play it for you. Provide a little relief as we are covering all this serious news. You see a Marine alongside Marine One lost his cap. The president goes to help put it back in. It falls off again as he pats him on the side. He goes and he grabs it again. It's so windy, obviously, from the helicopter. He's trying to right the ship here and help out the Marine who's standing alongside. Apparently cannot move from his current position, and then the president boards.
So obviously the chopper blades were blowing and it blows off the Marine's hat, and he's not allowed to leave his position. Like the guards outside Buckingham Palace, he has to stand there at attention. But it really was a moment. You know, they keep saying, oh, Trump with his mean tweets, he degrades the office of the presidency. In this moment, he elevated the office of the presidency, especially in light of the last president, what was his name? Obama? Osama.
Yeah.
No, Osama was the other guy.
No, that was the guy we killed.
Okay, so it's Bahama, something. I forget.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to forget his name because his legacy is now kind of like a groundhog that tried to cross the interstate while the big rigs were running past, and it gets run over, and it's not even like a shape of a dead groundhog anymore. It's just kind of dark stain on the highway where Obama's legacy used to be, so it's easy to forget his name. But do you remember this moment when it started to rain and Bahama asked the Marines, basically ordered the Marines, he's the commander-in-chief, to hold an umbrella over his head while he lied about the IRS? Take a look.
I am going to go ahead and ask folks, why don't we get a couple of Marines? They're going to look good next to us, just because I want them. I've got to change his suits, but I don't know about our prime minister. There we go. That's good. You guys, I'm sorry about. But let me make sure that I answer a specific question. I can assure you that I certainly did not know anything about the IG report before the IG report had been leaked through the press.
So the Marine has to hold, first of all, if you can't see this, we are on video if you're watching on Facebook or on thedailywire.com, but if you're just listening to it, the Marine has to stand with his arm extended outward. It's directly out, holding the umbrella over Obama's head while Obama lies about the fact that he jiggered the IRS against conservatives, okay? So the Marine has to stand. Try this. I mean, try it. It is not easy to hold your arm out like that for any extended period of time. It's just a little different in attitude. You know, one of the things about Trump that sometimes can be upsetting is he can be petty, he can be gruff, he can say things about people that maybe are unkind, but part of it is because actually conceives of himself as an ordinary person. He doesn't see himself as better than that Marine. He, in fact, understands that that Marine is a pretty noble character serving the country. And so when his hat blows off, remember, Donald Trump, most powerful man in the entire world, stoops to pick up the hat, brings it back, it blows off again. He chases after it and does it again. I'm sorry, but that says something really positive about the man, just as it seems to me that Obama had been practicing to be king of America since he was a little kid and basically regarded those Marines as his servants. You know, it's just part of the visuals. The optics, as they say now, of this last week. And the optics were the left was burning down Hamburg while Donald Trump made a beautiful, beautiful speech defending Western civilization in Poland. The left then reacted to this saying, oh my gosh, Western civilization is a dog whistle for racism. He's just being racist and Nazi. Western civilization, mustn't talk about Western civilization. When leftist activist and leader of the women's marches, Linda Sarsour, calls for jihad, and everybody says, oh, well, jihad means, you know, we all know that this is a spiritual jihad, you know, so they understand. So here they are, basically damning Western culture and celebrating jihad, you know, and meanwhile, you know, it's very hard to tell what exactly happened in Trump's meeting with Vladimir Putin, but it seemed to go pretty well. They got this Syrian ceasefire for as long as it lasts out of it. There was some kind of controversy about whether Trump conceded. Putin's people basically said that Trump believed Putin when he denied meddling with the election. That is not what Donald Trump says happened. Trump apparently really gave it to Putin for a good 45 minutes over this question. It really went on, and he was really putting it to him. Later, Trump sent out a kind of silly tweet saying they were going to have some joint cybersecurity thing, which is ridiculous. We're not sharing. I wouldn't share my password with the Russians, and I got nothing on my computer that they want to see. But Trump later said that's not going to happen. It would be a nice thing if it could, but it can't. So it just seemed that it was basically a 2-hour meeting where they were exchanging ideas and trying to come together. And then kind of Rex Tillerson sort of blew it a little bit he was describing it to reporters, and he sort of put it that they were talking about Syria as if Russia and America were actual full allies. Listen.
We spent a very, very lengthy period on Syria with a great amount of detail exchanged on the agreement we had concluded today that was announced, but also where we go, and trying to get much greater clarity around how we see this playing out and how Russia sees it playing out. And where do we share a common view and where do we have a difference? And do we have the same objectives in mind? And I would tell you that by and large, our objectives are exactly the same. How we get there, we each have a view, but there's a lot more commonality to that than there are differences. So we want to build on the commonality, and we spend a lot of time talking about next steps. And then where there's differences, we have more work to get together and understand maybe they've got the right approach and we've got the wrong approach. So there was a substantial amount of time spent on Syria.
So we can cut Tillerson a break. He's trying to be a diplomat. He's a chief diplomat trying to be diplomatic, but it's nonsense. I mean, our objectives and the Russian objectives in Syria are completely different. Russia's objectives are to build a lot of bases in Syria and keep their monster Assad in power. And our objectives, of course, are to make it a better country, bring a little peace to the region and keep Russia's influence to a minimum. So we do not have the same objectives. John McCain, with his usual restraint and, good nature and quiet calm, reacted to Tillerson's comments.
Do the Russians have the right?
You can't make that up. You can't make that up. These are the same people that use precision-guided weapons to strike hospitals in Aleppo where sick and wounded people are. This is just, I'm preparing myself mentally to be on this show. I said, John, you're not going to get upset. You're not going to get emotional. But I've met the white hats. I know what the slaughter has been. I know that the Russians knew that Bashar Assad was going to use chemical weapons. And to say that maybe we've got the wrong approach, Look, I agonized over voting for or against Tillerson for Secretary of State. Not that I didn't admire his success and all the great things he's done, but the things that he'd said in the past. He has divorced a fundamental of American democracy. The reason why we are the shining city on the hill, as Ronald Reagan used to say, is because they look up to us because of our principles and our beliefs and our advocacy of freedom. For freedom. That's what America's supposed to be all about, not whether they're right and we're wrong.
So, I don't know. I actually agree with McCain here. I mean, I agree. We have no connection to what the Russians are doing to people. We have no connection. We bombed them. Trump bombed them in answer to their use of Syria's use of chemical weapons. He shot down a plane that was bombing allies. We shot down a plane that was bombing our allies in the field, and the Russians threatened to retaliate. In our actions, we have shown that we are still standing up for ourselves and for our principles. What would it have cost McCain, I wonder, to just say, Tillerson is still a neophyte and he made a mistake here, instead of basically accusing him of burning down the American ideal? What would it have, just like, take a drink, John, like, cool it. All right, we got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube, which means you will not get to see this amazing set. And at any moment, one of them may actually straggle out in front of the camera. You never know what will happen. But if you come over to thedailywire.com, you can watch the whole thing there. And while you're there, subscribe. It's a lousy $10 a month. If you do it for a year, it's $100, and you get the Drink Liberal Tears mug. So come on over.
Yes.